Hi, dear friends. Welcome back to Akshadari. I'm Devraj. So, today is 24th June 2023. So, I hope you guys are working and preparing towards to improve our communication in English. So, let's start the newspaper reading. Today, newspaper reading. And before going to start the newspaper reading, if you guys are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and like and comment. If you like the video, please share with your friends so that I can come with a very informative videos related to education and healthcare and personal interviews, especially in the field of education. So the learning is very easy nowadays. So you can learn very anything, everything in very easy. So I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend. So let's start the newspaper reading. Yes, guys, let's welcome back to Akshadare. So let's see what's in the front page of the Hindu newspaper. Today is Saturday. I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend day. So and also at least read the newspaper minimum 2 hours every day. Then check your performance, check your improvement in the after 30 days. I'm sure you will be very good in communication. So let's start and let's see what's in the front page. So it's about advertisement. So this is about the tenders from the government. So this is the front page. Oh, Russia is training combat dolphins. Women groups in the movement army facing the heat in Bali. The government says the recent that deaths are not linked to the heat. Violence continues as central process land. Jaiswal, Ruturaj, and Mukesh for WI Women Word, yes, WI2. When India grows, the world grows, says Modi. In addressing joint session of the US Congress, PM Modi stressed on shared value of democracy. He also touched on global concerns such as the war in Ukraine and the Indo-Pacific situation. G deal to heal the first engine in 3 years. So Manate's stakes claim to BJP state chief's post. We stand together to fight BJP in 2024 Lok Sabha election. Anna Bhagya. Union government categorically refuses to sell rice to state. We will curtail commission mafia, says CM. BMTC bus crew failed to follow passenger safety norms. Buses keep doors open. BMTC earns 58 crore from the sale of digital passes. State government reconstitutes a delimitation committee. Circular not being followed on most ordinary buses, and people are allowed to stand on the footboard. Newly laid a road in Bangalore develops pathos. Citizens allege shoddy work for a shutdown. Milestone book on Bangalore reprinted after 53 years. Realty firm Khankade to invest 225 crore in city. City police to file charge sheet in metro pillar accident case. Nine accused persons, six from Nagarjuna Constructions Company Limited and three officials from Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation Limited have been charged under Section 3404A of IPC. Women caused to death. So women fell to her death from the 10th floor balcony of her apartment complex at Elanka, Newtown, on Thursday night. She was identified as Amrita Sharma, an employee in a private firm. After dinner, she locked her husband in their bedroom and rushed to the 10th floor of the apartment and jumped around 10 pm. Security guard at the apartment took her to a nearby hospital, but she was declared broad dead. Other residents of the apartment rushed to her flat and found her husband locked up. They let him out and informed him of the incident. The police said there were no problems in the marital life of the couple and that she was dejected over the recent death of her father, which they said may have pushed her to take the extreme step. CET online verification of documents from June 27th. Police crack murder case in 2 hours. Siddaramaiah to convene a meeting to discuss MSME problems. We wouldn't start any new universities in state, says Sudhakar. Women conductor slaps passenger. 44 stolen bikes worth 35 lakh recovered. Books on agriculture invited. Self-reliance doesn't mean we do everything ourselves, says ISRO chief. So, as Somanath was delivering the inaugural address at the program organized by the Department of Space on Self-Reliance in Space Technology. Dome or the room. People keen on eco-friendly methods are returning to the roots now. Domed roofs being one among them, says Satyaprakash Varanasi. Center's refusal to sell rice will alter calculation of Annabhagya's cost. Now Karnataka has restarted its hunt for rice from other sources and the scheme's launch slated for July 1st may be put off. Center categorically refuses to sell rice. Final touches to Lakshmi in next cabinet meeting. A separate app has been developed because of overload on Seva Sindhu portal. Lakshmi a bulk. MB Patil invites Elon Musk to invest in Karnataka. Commission mafia will be controlled to revive state financial health. CM HC upholds CBI Special Court's order of pardoning accused for turning approver. Reservation meeting of legal constitutional experts to be convened after budget session. Kerala PCC chief held in cheating case freed on bail. Sudhakaran was questioned for nearly 8 hours in connection with a cheating case involving a Mansoor Mavankal accused in a fake antiquities case. Congress planning protest across state. Artist leaves resume searches at a prison premises linked to Senthil Balaji. Railways alarmed over private trains running without safety clearance. Former Minister Somanath takes claim for post of Karnataka BJP President's post raising eyebrows. Products made in prisons to be made available online soon. All are equal in death and grief. Matthew in Kerala attempts to spread a secular message. It is a ground will gesture to the people known for their peaceful coexistence. The idea is to share their pain when they are grieving. Governor's duty is to depend and protect the constitution. Strike a fine balance. Have a just civil code. Let's read this editorial page. Make it divisible. Let's start on June 14th. The Law Commission of India decided to solicit views and proposals from the public about the Uniform Civil Code. After a hiatus of just 5 years, when the Commission had concluded that the UCC is neither necessary nor desirable, the move now is one that keeps the pot boiling on one of India's most ideologically as well as politically rivaled issue. Though we believe that the enactment of the UCC in piecemeal manner would be in tune with the spirit of Article 44, the attempt here is to invite attention to one particular consideration that must weigh with the Commission is it undertakes this exercise de novo. Autonomy versus authority. The question of personal laws is basically the question of personal and religious autonomy versus that the state's authority to reform familial relations. Since each religious group has cultural autonomy, it is thus being argued that the community should itself come forward to seek reform. So, this is the justification for the adoption of internal law reform or voluntary UCC. In fact, the Special Marriage Act 1954 and the Indian Succession Act 1925 are nothing but examples of voluntary adoption of the UCC, though the recently enacted Love Jihad laws by prohibiting interfaith marriages basically violates the spirit of Special Marriage Act. There are also regional differences. That is, Kerala had abolished the Hindu joint family in 1975. Muslim marriage and divorces are to be registered in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand under the 1876 law, and in Assam under 1935 law. And adoption was permissible to Kashmiri Muslims. At present, not just Muslims but even Hindus, Jains, Buddhists, Sikhs, Parsis, and Jews are governed by their own personal laws. Accordingly, believe it or not, it is the religious identity that determines which personal law would apply to a group of individuals. Even reformed Hindu personal law under the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 does insist on a solemnization of marriage through Saptapadi, 7 steps around fire, and Datta invocation before fire. Section 7 2 of the Act, just like Manusmriti, provides that marriage is completed on the seventh step. Sapinda relationship, adoption, and Hindu joint family rules too are based on the Hindu personal law. Surprisingly, when two Hindus marry under the Special Marriage Act 1954, Section 21A inserted in 1976, they continue to be governed by the Hindu personal law. But if two Muslims marry under this legislation, the Muslim personal law would no longer govern them. Interestingly, a person who renounces Hinduism too continues to be governed by the Hindu personal law. The constitution was not the starting point, but a mere culmination of India's long-standing integrative traditions. In addition to the provisions that outlaw discrimination in all its forms, the Indian Constitution's commitment to cultural accommodation is visible through a near absolute fundamental right in Article 29(1), dedicated exclusively to conserving the distinctive culture of all citizens. However, do Muslims of India have the courage to argue that polygamy or arbitrary unilateral divorce, even in anger or while in an intoxicated state, could be considered a part of their culture? Unity more than uniformity. That said, the Commission must bear in its recommendation that for diverse and multicultural polities such as India, the proposed UCC must be emblematic of India's mosaic model of multiculturalism. The logic is invariably obvious. A homogenizing lithification of identities must not become a mirage for flourishing diversity, something that has consistently remained peculiar to the American model of multiculturalism. After all, unity is far more important than uniformity. The British brought homogeneity amongst Hindus and Muslims by grossly undermining heterogeneity within the two religious communities. Under the Indian Constitution, the right to cultural autonomy defends the Indian model of multiculturalism. The prominent scholars on multiculturalism, such as Rochana Bajpai, says that the Indian Constitution offers two major approaches with respect to accommodation of difference: integrationist and restricted multicultural. While the affirmative action policies largely land in the first approach camp for MS Bajpai, Mr. Bass, state assistance to minority cultures has been seen as an illegitimate concession and is often termed as appeasement of minorities. This, as Mr. Bajpai further leaves cultural difference without any robust constitutional normative underpinnings. In short, it is through these two approaches that the constitution makes way for cultural accommodation and a celebration of group differences. Accordingly, the 21st Law Commission 2015 to 18 had boldly favored equality between men and women in communities rather than aiming for equality between communities. A just code should be the primary goal, as just laws are more important than a mere one uniform law. Having this discussion as the backdrop, India's tryst with preserving its multicultural diversity is often found at the crossroads with values such as secularism. Despite secularism being a fundamental tenet governing the Indian polity, India decided not to adopt the French model of licit, which strictly prohibits wearing any religious outfit for mocker in public. That considers religion in public as its right and not a prominent promoter to the nation's secular fabric. Thus, pushing it within only the four walls of the domestic household. Indian polite society therefore accommodates and not just tolerates the wide array of group and ethnic differences. When groups climb and effectuate their multi ethnic traditions without impinging on the rights and liberties of their fellow citizens, their traditions and values acquire the status of social mores, for they fulfill a much broader purpose of social and national integration. However, a claim of such broad nature invites limitations inherent in the name of personal laws and practices. What deserves legal protection and promotion and what does not. Right to cultural relativism cannot justify continuation of unjust and discriminatory personal laws. Such provisions of the personal laws must be made consistent with the substantive equality and gender justice goals espoused in the Constitution. Hurdles on the path ahead. Simultaneously, we must understand that when a community feels threatened in any way, whether rightly or wrongly so, the collective esteem of its members becomes woven to the community and a community allegiance becomes much stronger. Therefore, one hopes that Law Commission of India would not contribute to the rise of reactive culturalism amongst different communities in India, including Muslims. The Muslim community too must understand that the MPL and Islam are not one and the same. The MPL is a jurist given law and is not entirely divine. In fact, it is more appropriate to call it Anglo Mohammedan law that was derived in certain matters from the erroneously translated secondary sources rather than the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. British courts treated juristic opinion in the ample on a par with a statutory law enacted by the legislature and by insisting on the British doctrine of precedent. They further brought in a lot of rigidity in the MPL. If MPL reforms that rely on inter-school borrowing could be accepted by the ulema way back in 1939. Why cannot this be done today? Let the Muslim clergy come forward and lead the MPL reform process by identifying the discriminatory and oppressive issues and adopt the views of progressive jurists. As the Commission proposes an overhauling secularization of various socio-religious cultural practices that have been the mainstay of thousands of religious and ethnic communities since times immemorial. The path ahead is not going to be free from hurdles. In the words of political philosopher Iris Young, as the value of social difference is more relational and is itself a product of social processes. We believe that it will be incumbent upon the Commission to strike a fine balance as it should aim to eliminate only those practices that do not meet the benchmarks set by the Constitution. This is about the Civil Code. Let's go to the next. Warm welcome. The Modi visit further strengthened the ties between India and the US. Squaring the circle at the India Egypt summit, Mahesh, such there's a danger that after an adrenaline rush should and a consequential fail parlay in the United States. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Egypt June 24th to 25, 2023 may appear to be a bit underwhelming. It is anything but. Historical India Egypt ties are perhaps the oldest civilizational link. In 27 to 2750 BC, the Paroha Sahure sent ships to the land of Punt, which historians identify with peninsular India. By the middle of the second millennium BC, Egyptian mummies were wrapped in muslin dyed with indigo, both from India. Links and some key data. Is this a historic inspiration that needs to be invoked while aiming for greater bilateral relevance and substantially while the first century of contacts produced plenty of goodwill and verbal shibboleths from decolonization to non-alignment and from Egyptians Bollywood frenzy to the addition of lilting. Egyptian music in Indian schools, they have delivered little of substance. India stayed with the most populous Arab countries, stirred to $6,061 million in 2022-23, having declined by 17% over the previous year. Nearly a third of it was petroleum related. India was Egypt's sixth largest trading partner, while Egypt was India's 38th. Indian investments in Egypt were spread over 50 projects totaling $3.15 billion, half of the sum contributed by a single company. Egypt has invested only 37 million in India. Uh, there are less than 5,000 Indians in Egypt, nearly a fifth of them being students. The underperformance of bilateral ties is not due to a lack of bilateral institutional mechanisms, but their efficacy and sense of proposability as a joint commission, foreign office consultations, and at least nine joint working groups. Its defense and external affairs ministers visited Egypt during the first year. It had a bilateral summit less than 5 months ago, when the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi visited India. All this perhaps attests that both India and Egypt have formidable bureaucracies and public sectors adept at rearranging the chairs on the deck. Opportunities and challenges. If the forthcoming Cairo summit is not to become yet another event management exercise, it would need to leverage the opportunities while avoiding the pitfalls. Egypt is a large country, population 105 million and economy 378 billion. It is politically stable and its socio-economic conditions are quite similar to India. Egypt's largest imports are refined petroleum, wheat, world largest importer, cause corn and pharmaceuticals, all of which India has the potential to supply. Moreover, the Egyptian government has an ambitious infrastructure development agenda with 49 mega projects, including the construction of a new Cairo 58 billion, a 25 billion nuclear power plant, and a 23 billion high-speed rail network. During 2015 to 19, Egypt was the world's third largest arms importer. These present opportunities for India, but these opportunities are offset by serious challenges. To begin with, the Egyptian economy is in a serious crisis. The huge financial commitments have coincided with a static economy, pandemic, global slowdown, and the Ukraine conflict. Consequently, tourism has dropped, and imports such as cereals have become costly. Annual inflation is above 30%, and is the currency has lost more than half its value since February 2022. Foreign exchange scarcity has posed the deferral of payments for such essentials as wheat, while a 3 billion bailout package was negotiated with the International Monetary Fund 6 months ago. It is conditional on the tough economic reforms which are sputtering due to entrenched interests under crony capitalism. The affluent Gulf Arab states initially supported the Egyptian economy with nearly 30 billion, but have been lately reluctant to citing various governance issues in Egypt. Egypt's foreign debt is over 163 billion, 43% of the GDP, and its net foreign assets are minus 224.1 billion. The acute forex situation accompanied the government to issue in January 2023 an order for the postponement of projects with a large foreign currency component and cuts to non-essential spending. Pitfalls to avoid. With this backdrop in mind, Indian summiteers in Cairo may need to carefully balance their exposure to Egypt with the opportunities on hand. India may countenance manageable geopolitical risks to partake Egypt's lucrative opportunities through various innovations such as the Exim line of credit, barter, and rupee trading. It should, however, avoid a repetition of its existence of Iraq in the 1980s and 1990s of having to defer its hard-earned construction project dues until they had to eventually be paid half by the Indian taxpayer. Moreover, such an arrangement may set a precedent or other similarly placed friendly countries may cite. India may instead consider trilateral funding arrangements for such projects in Egypt or elsewhere with its partners in the Gulf. The G20 are the multilateral financial institutions. This is about the India and Egypt relation. Squaring the circle at the Indo-Egypt summit. Let's go to the next page. Facing the heat, in 5 days in June, Balia district recorded temperatures between 43 degrees centigrade and 45 degrees centigrade, as well as several deaths. Mayank Kumar reports on the families who lost their loved ones and the response of the Uttar Pradesh government, which says there is no evidence to link extreme heat with these deaths. When India grows, the world grows, says Modi. AP Congress engaged in war of words over Delhi ordinance. It will be difficult to be part of opposition meetings until Congress agrees to opposition ordinance in Rajya Sabha, says AAP. Congress says one cannot put a gun to its side and demand negotiations. BJP wants history to be changed, but we will ensure that history is saved. Congress DNA is in Bihar. BJP spread violence, says Rahul. They stand hard together to contest BJP in 2024. Partner opposition meet is a mere photo session. Sure. 315 companies have central forces deployed in Bengal. Central Defense 7FH's questionnaire says disability data wouldn't change fast. Infiltration bid fired in J&K, 4 terrorists gunned down. Biden hosts a state dinner for Modi. Corporate diaspora leaders join in. Jet and deal ensures 80% technology transfer to HAL, first engine in 3 years. India-US expanding scope of cooperation in strategic areas. PM. Modi lauds Kamala Harris for a contribution towards strengthening ties. Drones used to monitor roadblocks in Manipur. Pattern of people blocking roads to allow unidentified persons to sneak into villages has emerged. Safe Forces Army deploys more columns to traverse area on foot, says closely monitoring situation. G20 trade unions to meet emphasizes global society social security. Assam floods claim 2 lives in duration of 24 hours. SC clarifies on conditions of bail refusal to accused. CBI team conducts probe. FCI not to consider request by states for Amur put grains under open market scheme. Students fear delay in NIOS class 12 results may hit their undergraduate admissions. Celebrating Kalyana Rama. US indicts 4 Chinese companies for trafficking fentanyl ingredients. At least 31 die in abandoned South African gold mine. Cause unknown. Violence is occupied West Bank could spiral out of control. Even Beijing issues highest heat alert as China swelters at 40 degrees Celsius, affirming US as a trusted long-term partner for tech. India sends message to China. NATO winds up its largest haze exercise in Europe. 350 Pak citizens aboard boat that sank off Greece. UK accuses Russia of training combat dolphins in Crimea, used to boost women's access to contraception. Price stability is a must for growth. Bringing down inflation and stabilizing inflation expectations will revive consumer spending, boost corporate revenues and profits, thus giving an incentive for private capex. Mabi officials led by Deputy Governor Patre write in the monthly bulletin. Most states failed to meet their capital spending targets in financial year 23. LIC unveils non-linked single premium plan Dhan Riddhi. Decision by US India to hand trade through a big victory. Micron to produce first semiconductor chip at India plant by December 2024. Wise no. Former Aki forward Rajiv Mishra no more. King's ransom will well peppered to deliver in the Chief Justice Cup. MotoGP Bharat tickets go on sale. Sutherland smashes century, but Beaumont leads England's reply. Was approached for England Test coach position before MC Callum. England hearts Rehan Ahmed to squad for second Ashes Test. Aditi lies tied 61st at the PGA Championship in Springfield. Jaiswal, Ruturaj and Mukesh get their maiden test call-up. Jaiswal looking forward to a new beginning. Manikand and Satyan enter last put stage. Saraswati wins 500 meters roller skating gold as Sahal ready to contribute more as the Blue Tigers take on Nepal. Carlson Bass Anand beats but CG stays on top. Ed's Boston tracks was like my kryptonite, says Anderson. I've tried over the years to hone my skills so I can bowl in any conditions, but everything I tried made no difference. I know why I was not on top of my game. I wanted to make up for it at Lords. Udhatri sails to victory in the Pro Golf Tour ninth leg. Ramkumar Margharoli moves into the title round. IOA Hardak panel's decision on wrestling trials draws criticism. Refresh or reboot the question confronting Indian Test cricket. An aging core at the demands of playing multiple formats and two limited overs World Cups before the end of 2024 have left the Indian think tank with the defining decisions to make during the 2023-25 World Test Championship cycle. Glass half full, half empty. Track to road, the net zero carbon fundraising is Formula E delaying. The all electric series was created to show that racing can be road relevant, sustainable, and exciting. Nine seasons in how it as it progressed and what challenges does it face. Having an all weather tire like something that you have got on your road car tries to showcase that a race car can perform while keeping the essence of what a road tire is. Picture this. This is the last page, guys. I hope you enjoy the newspaper reading. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe the channel, like and comment for more videos related to education, healthcare, and personal interviews. I hope you guys working towards to improve our communication. At least read the newspaper daily, 2 hours minimum. I am sure you will be better in communication the next 30 days. So see you in the next video, guys. So have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.